Sri Lanka, the treasure island of South Asia found beyond the gates of ancient time. Sri Lankans know that just as people need houses, animals need their territory. They know how to be thankful for today instead of waiting for tomorrow with greed. They lean on each other during hardship and embrace others' religion and culture. Sri Lanka is a place where the power of coexistence allows harmony and difference. Sri Lanka is located south of India, in the Indian Ocean of South Asia. It can be reached in 9 hours by plane. Sri Lanka is an island with an area 1/3 the size of Korea. In Sinhalese, its name means Shining Island. Our journey this episode begins in the port city of Gale, 3 hours from the capital, Colombo. I visited Sri Lanka 3 years ago and stayed for 2 years as part of a volunteer group. During those 2 years, I helped build houses and received more than what I gave. It has been 1 year since I left Sri Lanka. The first thing that comes to mind when I think of Sri Lanka is the sea, the Indian Ocean. We stopped by a small fishing village called Hikkaduwa on our way to Gale. Behind this beautiful coastal view lay painful memories of the tsunami that hit in 2004. Fishermen had gathered from early morning on the coast. It was time to go fishing. We had arrived just in time.
아들 못 와도 그랬네 된. 문에 안 와도 된? 아, 오걸로 안 와도? 아이요. 뭐야 왜 댓글 넣어다? 뭐야 왜 댓글 넣어다? 못다 왜 댓글 넣어? 아, 헬퍼? 아.
It is more difficult to get the boat in the water than to do the actual fishing. Every time a boat is launched, all the men of the village are mobilized to help. The fishermen reached the sea with much difficulty, but another problem was awaiting them. The Indian Ocean has high and rough waves. The fishermen need to watch out for the waves when setting sail. If the timing is wrong, the boat could flip over, resulting in a big accident. The fishermen push the boat during the ebb tide. They need to coordinate their movements. After setting the boat afloat, they need to reach the sea as soon as possible by rowing, or the boat could be pushed ashore. Setting the boat afloat requires cooperation, the right timing, and some strong rowers if all is to turn out as planned. Thankfully, the boat set sail in one try. The fishermen anchored the boat 500 meters from shore. After finding an appropriate spot, they cast their nets. I did not have any skills to offer, so I helped control the direction of the boat. 6 fishermen form a team in one boat. Madel is a traditional Sri Lankan fishing method of casting a net in a circle and then pulling the ends together to catch fish. This net measures 40 meters in length. The fishermen hold on to the ends of the net and swim ashore again. The waves are rough and the terrain is rocky beneath the surface of the water, so injuries are common. The struggle begins once again. All the people on the beach must gather their strength to pull in the net. The net must be pulled in swiftly, or all the fish they've caught so far might very well be swept by the waves back out to sea. Not many fish were caught considering all the effort that went into catching them. And amongst those caught, few are of a decent size.
물고기 잡다가 선장님이 다쳤어요. 그걸로 외저 끓여 나가네. 외저 끓라 쌀리 소모도 돼.
The captain of the boat gets the largest share. Although the catch is not big, the fishermen show no sign of disappointment. The bigger fish are given out to the fishermen who are on the boat, and the smaller fish are given to the villagers who helped out. The smaller fish that cannot be cooked are used to make fish sauce, so nothing goes to waste. No one complains about the distribution. Nobody feels left out because even onlookers and children receive their share. This shows how people can work and share together. I was invited by one of the fishermen, Aruna, to have lunch at his house.
아저씨의 아들이에요.
Hello.
Hello, 꼬모도. 한다이.
The fish caught in the morning is this family's food for today.
아이고, 물이 여기서 바로 나오네.
First, Aruna washes himself at the faucet in the front yard. He is just himself in front of the first foreigner he has ever seen. Just like Aruna, Sri Lankans are a people who approach strangers first and open their hearts easily.
제가 몸이 안 좋아가지고 몸매가 안 좋아가지고 옷을 안 벗으려고 했는데 아저씨가 후딱 옷을 벗겨버려가지고 찌누치까지 해주시네요. 아,
Aruna lent me his clothes because I hadn't brought anything to change into.
아 이게 참.
This sarong allows free bodily movement and is cool to wear. It's just right for the hot and humid Sri Lankan weather. Hikaduwa fish is widely known in Sri Lanka for its flavor.
나무 못 갔던데 말로.
말한다.
말한다. 라스타이죠. 라스나.
Rasa.
마른다.
카투알라.
카투알라.
Mengolah
마.
paramua.
파라모아.
No. Katualla. Paramua.
파라모아.
ඇයි හොඳ ආනවා මෙහෙම අලු.
මේ දැල් මාළුනේ. මේ හාල් මැස්සුනත් මේ සුදු එක තියෙන්නේ. වෙනත් තැන් වල කළු එක තියෙනවා.
The secret behind the taste is that the fish are freshly caught from the nearby sea. Aruna's family consists of 3 generations, including his parents and children.
Why is it scared?
Bahay.
바하이? 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 아이고.
The tanned fishing village children are bright and healthy.
깡무.
Aruna's family have worked as fishermen in this village for generations.
මාළු ටික හදන්න ඕනේ.
වෙන මාළු ටිකද?
아여보안 엄마다. 여기 엄마.
Most Sri Lankan food contains coconuts. Interestingly, in Sri Lanka, the men clean the fish and the women do the cooking. Coconut is a staple ingredient in Sri Lanka, with almost all foods being made with coconut oil. Food prepared with coconut oil is characterized by its distinct smell and light taste. A typical Sri Lankan dish would be rice and curry. White rice mixed with broiled vegetables or fried fish is topped with curry sauce. Another distinct characteristic is that 2 places are heated with 1 furnace to save fuel. It was time to have lunch with Aruna's family. It is usual for Sri Lankans to eat their food while holding their plates rather than using a table.
Rasaide.
라스타이. 올라왔어.
Sri Lankans use their hands to eat curry, but only the right hand should be used, because Sri Lankans believe that the right hand is the holy hand.
이렇게 깔끔하게 먹어야지 밥을 제대로 먹을 줄 아는 사람인데 저는 아직 서툴러 가지고 이렇게 밥에 밥알 많이 묻히잖아요. 젓깍지를 못 하는 거하고 똑같은 것 같아요. 매하게.
There is a way to do this properly.
하리다.
You roll the rice together with your thumb.
아, 이게 또 먹는 방법이 있네요. 이렇게.
오케이.
오케이. 한번 먹어볼게요. 이렇게 먹고 이렇게. 이렇게.
It was a humble lunch, but it was warm and tasty.
Bye.
Madel is about catching only as much as is needed, and gathering everyone's strength and distributing the catch fairly among the people.
Bye. Bye.
Sri Lanka's fishing method and its way of life are similar in spirit. Taking with us the warm welcome we received in the small fishing village, we moved on to the well-known Sri Lankan port city of Galle. Galle is located at the southwestern tip of Sri Lanka. Along with the capital Colombo, it is the country's center of commerce and transportation. It is also a historical city where traces of the Western powers' invasion remain. I am personally interested in the port city of Galle because I have a background in architecture.
이게 단순한 건물이지만 아주 높이가 높고 기둥이라든지 구조 같은 게 단순하면서도 웅장한 모습을 볼 수 있는데 여기에다가 유럽으로 수출할 향신료라든지 이런 것을 보관하고 이 근처에 있던 항구로 배를 실어 나가지고 유럽으로 이렇게 계속 수출하는 그런 모습을 볼 수 있습니다. 이 항구가
This storage facility, built in the 17th century, is a valuable building which shows the Dutch architecture of the Middle Ages. Beyond it lies a British-style church. Sri Lanka, which was invaded many times by Western powers, has been left with many buildings in different architectural styles.
이제 한 거리에 그 식민지 시대를 받았던 그런 양식들이 혼재해 있는 모습들이 상당히 흥미롭죠. 이쪽 건물은 영국식 스타일이 그대로 남아있고 또 네덜란드 양식이 남아있는 그 같은 거리에 있으면서도 시대를 관통하는 그 양식이 다른 걸 한눈에 볼 수 있습니다.
There is a century-old clock tower midway along the fortress wall. This is a symbol of Gale's long history of being under colonial rule. This fortress was built because of the unending threats coming from beyond the Indian Ocean.
이 보루는 타운으로 올 타운으로 하고 있어가지고 아주 그 당시에 바다 쪽에서 오는 그 침범하는 적들의 그 동향을 타운에서 바라보기 아주 적합한 장소로 지어졌죠.
Western powers constantly sought to conquer Sri Lanka to acquire a launching board from which to invade India. Traces of the forts built during the days of colonial rule remain in this port city, facing the Indian Ocean. The Dutch tried to build a fort wall along the whole bay to make Gale impregnable. This sea, which once must have witnessed countless battles, is now very peaceful. The elegant colonial-era architecture and fort have made Gale into the main tourist spot in Sri Lanka.
What's your country?
South Korea.
Sri Lankan rugby team නියෝජනය කරනවා. ආමි rugby team.
본인이구나.
Drawn by the active Sri Lankan youth, I decided to join in their game. I was honored to catch a few balls thrown by a player on the national team, and being flattened once or twice was a small price to pay. The sky was clear and the ocean blue. The ocean, which was once the scene of many wars, is now a playground for the youth and the backdrop of life for fishermen. Sri Lanka and the Indian Ocean have shared a long history of life and painful history. Leaving Gale behind, we headed towards Marissa, a coastal city located in the south of the country. Marissa is famous for its maritime sports and activities. What has caught my attention is the whale watching tour. This tour, which takes tourists out into the middle of the Indian Ocean in order to see some whales, is especially popular among Western tourists. Maybe it's the anticipation of seeing a whale in the wild, but they all look very excited.
아, 휘파람을 넣네요.
And all the dolphins are coming, especially when you dance with them.
The Indian Ocean stretches before our eyes after 1 hour on the boat. The endless ocean is breathtakingly beautiful in itself. No whales were to be seen for a while. However, just then, something appeared. What greeted us were not whales, but dolphins. The school of dolphins slipped in and out of the water before our very eyes. Several dozen dolphins skimmed across the Indian Ocean, presenting quite a spectacle.
It was very beautiful. Yeah, I loved it.
The best time to observe dolphins is in April and May. Just then, we spotted something else. It was the mountain-sized blue whale, which took everyone by surprise. This whale can weigh up to 125 tons, making it the biggest animal on Earth. They can be spotted only in Marissa and Kalpitiya in Sri Lanka. All of the tourists aboard are mesmerized by the whale. This is a sight which will not be easily forgotten.
머리부터 들어갔다 마지막에 이렇게 꼬리가 이렇게 나오는 그 모습마저도 너무 우아하고 돌고래가 이렇게 좀 민들민들한 머리를 이렇게 보이면서 이렇게 헤엄쳐가는 모습도 너무 경이로운 것 같아요.
We have met an amazing part of nature. This encounter with the blue whale was another present given to us by the Indian Ocean. After saying farewell to the beautiful city of the blue whale, we headed for Negombo. Negombo is about 30 kilometers north of capital Colombo. Negombo is a major fish trading center in Sri Lanka. This is where long-distance vessels return from the Indian Ocean, and Sri Lanka's largest fish market can be found here. We arrived in Negombo at 4 a.m. This is the time when the fish market is at its busiest, because this is the time when the ships return.
잡은 고기들이 자꾸 어시장 쪽으로 들어오네.
Tuna fish the size of humans are unloaded from ship. They are from the far-flung Indian Ocean. Around 10% of all Sri Lanka's fish are traded here.
Oh.
Surprisingly, even sharks are caught. The fins and sharp teeth are still intact.
무부도 네메이다. 네네. 소말리아. 아, 멀리까지 갔네.
අපි යන්නේ ඉන්නට කලින් දවස් 28ක් විතර යනවා.
This is the first time I have been so close to a shark.
혀도 있고 이빨 3층에 3층. Danger?
When morning comes, the fishermen disappear one by one, and vendors take their place. 30,000 tons of fish are sold from this place annually. Negombo is surely the center of Sri Lanka's fish industry.
완전 무거워. 들 수 없어. 이게 드는 게 쉬운 게 아니구나.
Another guest at the fish market is the crow. The crow is a bad omen here, as in Korea. However, it does have a slightly different meaning.
우리나라 사람은 이렇게 생각하잖아. 까마귀를 보면 기분 나쁘다고 생각하잖아요. 그냥 단순하게. 왜냐면 이게 까마귀가 나쁜 일이 있을 때 와서 우니까 기분 나쁘게 안 좋은 일이 생길 거다 이렇게 생각하는데 우리나라 사람들은 까마귀를 보면은 이렇게 다르게 생각한대요. 같은 나쁜 일이 일어나는데 이 사람들은 이 나쁜 일이 일어나는 걸 경고해 준다고 생각하나 봐요. 그래서 그걸 갖다가 오히려 고마운 존재로 받아들이고 있대요. 그래서 같은 의미의 까마귀지만 그걸 어떻게 또 다르게 해석하는 게 또 상당히 흥미로운 것 같아요.
Along with the fish market, Negombo is a popular holiday resort for Europeans. However, just a little way away from Negombo is a fishing village that makes a living from catching fish. At the moment, sardines are in season. The freshly caught sardines are dried under the sun and sold. April and May are when Sri Lanka is at its hottest, and it's when the sunshine is brightest as well. There is almost no space left on Negombo Beach because drying fish. This is when the nearby fishermen are the busiest as well. Negombo fish is famous and highly sought after.
Negombo malu. Hondai. Negombo malu.
굿모닝. 수고 알러다고요. 뭐나 들거네. 아예.
있어 갔네 연어하다.
네? 이 배로 타고 가는.
We decided to join them in catching shrimp. This is the first time I've ridden in a fishing boat that sails far out to sea.
어쩌로 వెళ్ళావు 연어하다.
The boat does not have a motor, but uses its sail to catch the wind instead. This kind of boat is that traditional used by Sri Lankan fishermen. The fishermen make the sails by hand from scrap pieces of cloth. The boat is called Ruwal Oruwa. This traditional boat is used for fishing off the southwestern coast of Sri Lanka. One of the fishermen continuously sprinkles water on the sail. This helps it catch more wind. I decided to sprinkle the water instead, because that was the only thing I could do to help out. It was not an easy task. In the middle of the sea, the wind becomes quiet. When there is no wind, people need to row the boat themselves.
iya.
Eli, ayo, Eli, 바람 불어라. Eli. 바람이 소중한 존재래. 이렇게 힘들게 살아야 돼. 바람이 안 불면. 사람이 직접 쪄야 돼. 엘리야.
Once in the middle of the sea, the cast net is pulled up. Considering the half-day's effort that went into fishing, the results are not very good.
이거 안 먹는다고 그래가지고 자꾸 버리라고 그런 거 제가 맛있다고. 나사이.
Kain ini.
Api deh. Ya api itu memang sama ini apalagi juga sama itu botak kau itu. Sedang lo akan lepe. Onda. Malu tuh takkan kamang nen.
apa sudah kamu sudah diam ya.
Orang uyan di sini.
Yanda sudah api dorong lenang.
Api wela.
Wila lenang kamu.
아,
tambah ini kayak.
조금 잡아갖고 나눠 먹을 줄 아는 사람들.
There are people who know how to be happy in the present moment. On our way back from receiving only as much as the sea gives, the Ruwal or Ruwa boat is filled with smiles and happiness. The Indian Ocean in Sri Lanka is not just a sea. It is a sea where fishermen strike a balance between trials and happiness. It is a sea where people and animals coexist, in suffering and happiness as well. For all of these reasons, the Indian Ocean is a blessing on Sri Lanka.